Maniacs.
Hey, Maniacs.
Somewhere out there, I know at least one of our listeners is saying, hey, Maniacs, right back.
I know. That's the best.
Because they told us that they do, and that's awesome.
If you say it out loud, that's awesome.
Mostly because if you do and you're wearing headphones, the people around you will go, who you calling a maniac?
I don't know. A large number of people listen to us in bed, so I don't understand that.
I know. I don't think of us as being like, falling to sleep podcast, but hey, whatever floats your boat. We fall asleep to Poirot all the time.
Yes.
32 times. No. If we find that calming, who knows? So this is the promised mini episode during our break. Sorry, it's a little bit delayed, but, things are crazy everywhere. So
we took the best 2 weeks off we could have. We pinpointed it and we took it off. I have no idea how we could have done regular episodes in these 2 weeks.
Yeah, and these were not 2 weeks of sleeping in and, going to the beach. This was 2 weeks of we have to do everything else in the universe. We've got kids all over our house on Zoom calls, attending their courses at the university, and we're prepping classes and, building desks and everything else. It's insane.
Crazy town here.
But we always have time.
At Maniac Central. Maybe we should put that on the front of the house.
Yeah. Because in the UK, people name their little cottages, Beehive Cottage and all that. We could be Maniac Central.
Well, we had the name Monster Tree Cottage.
Yes.
For a while.
Yes. But I think Maniac Central probably reflects us better.
I think so.
But as promised,
yes,
we are here with a mini episode because you did your part and gave us a whole bunch of awesome messages about what you like about Midsomer and what you like about the podcast, and basically just proves to us that we are not the only maniacs.
Yeah.
There are plenty of you out there.
Absolutely. You guys are as crazy as we are.
Oh, yeah. I learned a few things from all the messages that we got.
Tell us the lessons you've learned.
Okay. And we're going to share a bunch of these, but if I have a few takeaways, one is that lots of you think we can't pronounce words, which is fine because there was the whole fate thing. And I understand that. And hey, any help we can get, we'll take it. Right.
On Zedcar, I still feel upset about Zedcar that I didn't call it Zedcar properly.
Your Canadian citizenship should be revoked.
No.
Because you called it Z-Car like me, the American.
Yes.
You should have called it Zed.
Yes.
Somewhere there's a maple leaf rolling over in its grave.
Well, that has more to do with my hockey team than it has.
Well, there is that too.
Yes.
So I learned that you guys think we need some pronunciation help and you're willing to offer it. And that's great.
And thank you.
We're all in it together.
I don't mind being corrected.
I learned that we have listeners everywhere.
Everywhere.
Especially in Australia and New Zealand, which I would not have guessed that would have been a maniac hotspot, but it is.
So far away, but that's awesome.
Hey. They're the furthest away that they could be, I think, from us.
It's pretty darn close. Has to be.
Opposite. If we dug a really deep hole, we might get there.
Yeah.
Maybe. Which is wonderful. They're everywhere.
Yep.
And and then my last takeaway is that you guys are maniacs too. We have that in common.
And that, the biggest thing that we get out of this is the same thing you get out of this, which is I'm not the only one.
For years, we've been making in-jokes at our house about Midsomer murders.
Our children don't get it.
That only the two of us ever understood. And now we've got a worldwide posse of people who understand these jokes.
Yes.
If I say sarcophagus, there are people out there who know what I'm talking about.
There are many requests for merchandise also.
Yeah, some fun stuff. And maybe we'll do that in the future.
Maybe. If we're going to do
merchandise. Not
merchandise.
to make money, but to maybe raise some money
If we're going to do merchandise, I want to raise money for something.
Yeah, for a charity.
So.
Is there a Widows and Orphans of Midsomer Murders charity out there or something?
I don't know. I might look into what John Nettles supports and things like that, because that's, we're not doing this to make money.
No.
It would be cool to have a Sarcophagus t-shirt.
Yeah. Or Brian's sweaty socks, or what was it?
Brian Clapper's sweat soup.
That's right. Wow. And the two of us, I'm the graphic designer, so I get to draw that, right?
Yeah.
The sweatsuit. Or maybe the Maniacs are good at it too. They could submit some some designs.
It just has to be his sort of balding head over the side of the tub and his feet at the other end of the tub and just a little voice balloon that says scum, scumbag, scum.
I like that idea. And you'd wear it and you'd be so happy about it and nobody would understand.
If we make those shirts, I am going to send one to that actor.
Yes. Bin Man.
Yeah, that would be another one. So,
all right. So we have combination of things, right? We have some voice messages, which were awesome. We also have some emails, some Instagram messages, some Facebook messages.
Yep. All the social medias.
We're going to share a selection of our favorites.
Excellent. So we're going to start with Hong Kong.
Yes, Neil from Hong Kong.
First of all, Neil, I got to tell you, be safe.
Yes.
Hong Kong's a scary place right now. Be safe, my man.
Yep. So Neil tells us that he has been living in Hong Kong for 22 years, but was in the UK prior to that. So apparently watching Midsomer makes him feel a little bit homesick because, what could make you feel more homesick than when you see a businessman's head rolling down the hallway after being lopped off by Richard Briers. I love that. Oh, the sweet sound of the head rolling.
Yep.
Thump, thump, thump.
He listens on Monday nights because that's when the podcast comes out for him.
On the roof.
Looking
at the stars.
Yeah.
I hope he cackles.
I do too.
I hope he sits on the roof, has a little drink, maybe a cup of tea or something, and just laughs his head off and makes his neighbors think he's weird.
Absolutely.
Right on, Neil.
Thank you, Neil. Stay safe.
Yes. Jackie writes on Facebook that she likes Midsomer because even the baddies aren't super evil and scary. They're just inept. And they do always get caught.
Yes.
Except for that one episode with the twins where we think the wrong guy got caught.
But
they always make a mistake.
Somebody got caught.
Yes. They always make a mistake. And as she notes that when you're watching Midsomer, you always know that by the end of the episode, the good guys are going to win, which again, is one of the things that I've always loved about Midsomer. There are so many other cop dramas out there and murder mysteries out there. And it's great to watch something kind of ambiguous and edgy, but sometimes you just kind of want a hug from a show. And Midsomer always feels like kind of a hug.
Yeah, but it's not so saccharine like Murder, She Wrote.
No, I mean, there might be a bloody knife in the hand that's hugging you, but it's not going to stab you too much.
No, it's not too stabby.
In the end, it'll be okay.
Also, representing the Netherlands, we have Ilse.
Hello, I'm Ilse from the Netherlands, and my two favorite Midsomer episodes are Hidden Depths and The Straw Woman. Hidden Depths because it's not only the first episode of Midsomer I ever watched, but it also has some very interesting and creative ways to murder people. I really like The Straw Woman because Liz Francis is my favorite character that only appears in one Midsomer. I really like this podcast because it feels like I've finally got some friends to talk to about Midsomer, because no one in my life is really such a maniac as I am. Thank you.
Everybody loves Hidden Depths.
Everybody
How can you not like a trebuchet flinging wine?
That is a fantastic episode.
And the drowning in the TV and everything.
And we are honored to be maniacs with you.
Absolutely. You have found your people. There are thousands of us. We are maniacs. We are together. Then we've got Tracy. Here's a pronunciation challenge. Tracy is from the UK. In Worminghall. But no, in the UK, it could be like Worminghall.
Or Cheshire.
Yeah. It's spelled Worminghall, but pronounced London. My two favorite bits from Tracy's message. One, she got married in one of the churches that was featured in the filming of Midsomer, which is awesome. I want to know, Tracy, though, did you know that? Like, did you get married in the church before it was in the Midsomer? Or did you choose that church because it was in Midsomer?
Ooh, and did you play Midsomer music as you walk down the aisle?
That would be ominous, right? Instead of dun, 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 it'd be do, 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 do. That'd be... Yeah.
It would work.
If we ever renew our vows, that would be an idea.
Maybe.
Yeah. The other thing.
We'd have to see people.
Yes, I know. We'd have to be like in a room with the people. The other thing I love about Tracy's message is that she had just listened to episode 50 when she wrote this message to us. And that was the one where we talked about some UK children's entertainers, especially one that offered axe throwing parties for little kids.
And we laughed at it.
But Tracy says that her 8-year-old daughter went to one of these parties and loved it. And all the kids thought the axe throwing was the best bit. And apparently Tracy's daughter was good at it too, which she says it's not scary in the slightest. And that maybe a kid's axe throwing party should be a plot for a future episode of Midsomer, which I agree.
Miniature Murders comes pretty close.
Yeah. And we do have killer kids.
Yeah, we do.
So why not killer kid axe murderers? It could happen.
It could happen.
In Midsomer, it could happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Karen from Canberra, Australia.
Who points out another interesting thing about Midsomer. You can say that it's an old granny show, that it's something that old people watch. You know, they waddle in on their walker and sit down with a cup of tea and watch Midsomer.
But they slip them things in right from the beginning.
And she's got a good one that she points out.
Yep.
Hi, Maniacs. Karen from Canberra, Australia here. I love your podcast so much. In these crazy times, you really cheer me up. Favourite character? Dennis Rainbird. What he says to Barnaby about Troy, oh my. On first listening all those years back, did he really say that? I think it still goes over some people's heads even these days. Hope you enjoy your break. Can't wait for your next episodes.
We also have an email from Dorothy, who is quick to point out our mispronunciations.
Yep, but she's right about every one of them.
Oh, absolutely, including Derek Jacobi.
Yes. And Bernardo. I appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
And I also appreciate that Dorothy cared enough to write it out phonetically for us.
Yes.
So that we would be sure to be able to pronounce it. And she's one of our listeners. She's a maniac who listens in bed when she can't sleep.
Yep.
I don't know if we would help or hinder.
I don't know.
Go to sleep, Dorothy.
Go to sleep.
Sleep. No. It won't work. And she recommends that if you're looking for something crazy to watch, speaking of Derek Jacobi, that the children's program that he made a long time ago called In the Night Garden is totally bonkers.
I have yet to see this.
Us maniacs love bonkers stuff, so I'm definitely going to check that one out.
Yeah, we need to check.
And I like Derek Jacobi.
I love Derek Jacobi, so.
Thanks, Dorothy.
Yes. Julie is from New Mexico. She has been watching for years, including on PBS.
Yeah, that's where I started watching Midsomer too.
She says the actors look like regular people, which we've heard a couple of times from American people, especially.
This is something I think that's true of British television in general. I think British television features more actors that are not cookie cut Hollywood glamorous people. And I like that.
An absolute great example of this right now is a British show called Wild Bill. Mm-hmm. Just came out on BritBox.
It's got Rob Lowe in it.
It's got 2 episodes. Rob Lowe stands out in that show as I'm a beautiful person.
Yes.
Because Rob Lowe is.
Yes.
For our entire life, Rob Lowe has been a beautiful person and still is a beautiful person.
Yes.
But there are a lot of other people in that show that are not beautiful
people. They look like ordinary people.
They're not beautiful people in the traditional American television sense. I think they're beautiful people.
Everybody's beautiful.
Yes.
But in America, to get on TV, you have to be above average looking to play the ugly guy.
Which is why, especially with that show,
he sticks out.
He radiates.
Yeah. He looks unnaturally good looking.
Yes.
Over and over again, there are these character actors that are in Midsomer repeatedly playing these quirky characters, and they look like regular people. They've got a little love handle going on. They got a little double chin going on. Their hair's not perfect. Maybe they've got, some freckles.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it.
Absolutely.
And again, one of the things I love about British entertainment is that everybody gets to play.
Speaking of American actors, on Instagram, like Robert Downey Jr.,
That's the username.
That's the username.
Mm-hmm.
Also loves us and loves the bonkers episodes of Midsomer Murders the best.
And even appreciates our rabbit holes, which I often get uptight about because I think, wow, we really went off base with that. We just kept going with that idea and we should have stuck closer to the episode.
Now,
but you leave some of those in the edits, and I'm always glad that you do, and I'm glad that other people appreciate it.
Yeah, so a little inside baseball. We record the episode, and then I edit it, and I remove mostly my meanderings or where I forget my place or where I'm going or
Oh, because my audio is always perfect? Is that it?
It's pretty close.
I don't think
You're
so.
much better. Your audio is much better than mine. And yes, we have all of that saved.
Of course.
We only put the best blooper at the end of the episode, not just the only blooper.
There are many.
Never mind when the dog barks or the children interrupt us or...
No, the dog sound that we have to edit out is her snoring.
Yes.
We have a 70-pound British bulldog named Fanny who can snore loud enough to vibrate the floorboards.
Yeah, she's not allowed in the room when we're recording.
But she's not beyond laying right outside the door and snoring.
Yes.
With her nose basically under the door. So every once in a while.
But she loves Midsomer Murders too. So
She does love them. Speaking of dog sounds.
Kathy from Central Florida sent us some audio.
And her dog backs her up the whole way.
Absolutely. I think this dog is like, oh yeah.
Yeah, tell him this. Tell him you like the characters. Kill. Yeah.
So here's Kathy's audio.
I enjoy watching Midsomer. I've always enjoyed whodunits. The storylines are great. The recurring characters are charming, and I just enjoy coming back to visit them. The crimes they committed are pretty heinous, but the characters are so quirky, you're like, okay, that's terrible, but it was still fun to watch.
Next, we have some audio from Rebecca and her boyfriend, sorta?
Becky from Norwich.
Norwich.
Yes. You know, the place where the toilets look like a shed from Midsomer. Remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
Which she thought was cool that we mentioned where she was from, but now we're sitting here talking about her.
Becky's got some awesome insights about Troy's first aid skills.
Yes.
Liquor in Midsomer and The Great Escape. Let's listen.
Hey Midsomer Maniacs, my name's Becky. I'm in Norwich in the UK, famous for the Eastern Daily Press, where the person commented, the new toilets were going to look like a shed from Midsomer Murders, I believe. I enjoyed that shout out very much. I was in the garden when I heard it. It was like my literal name being read out in the podcast, as if I was noticed around the world. My favourite thing about Midsomer Murders is when they centre around a very specific thing, like photography or the use of a community centre or something like that. My most favourite thing that's happened is anything to do with class wars, but also the 2 times Troy has taken a pulse. The second time he was there and the person was shot point blank with a shotgun, and he went down, puts his little fingers on their neck, turns around to Barnaby and he's like, this one's a goner. And it's like, really, Troy? That one's a goner? Is it? I'm here with my boyfriend. What was the other thing? I would like to know, have you noticed an episode where someone doesn't drink whiskey or brandy? It's a brown substance. I assume it's one of the two. I can't think of any. And what was your thing, honey?
You wish to explain The Great Escape.
Ah, yes. So I've just listened to your, not most recent episode. I've just listened to one of your episodes and you talked about Scott's last episode, knowing about The Great Escape and how it wasn't in character. So in the UK, we are Stockholm syndromed into liking The Great Escape because at Christmas, it's probably, from my childhood, it felt like it was on every single day. It wasn't. I don't think I've ever seen The Great Escape, but when I was a kid, I remember on Channel 2 or Channel 1, The Great Escape would be on and you'd be like, this is on again.
It's a tradition for people of a certain age.
It's a tradition of people of a certain age, which would have made Scott prime, because Scott's older than me, I'm 32, and he was probably his mid-30s when he was on it, so 2005 time. So it would have been prime. As a working class kid from the streets, he probably had one TV, which would have had Channel 1 and Channel 2 on, and would have been forced to watch The Great Escape. So when he made a Steve McQueen reference, I'm sure if you said, "Hey Scott, name another film by Steve McQueen or with Steve McQueen," he'd just stare at you blankly and then say that he was from the streets and he might shiv us. Anyway, I'm going to return now. I'm watching the golfing one. Yep, it's called
Something About Golf.
Something About Golf. I love listening to you two. It's fantastic. You're one of my two favourite podcast couples. You're brilliant. You bring light to my day. My boyfriend's laughing, but you know it's true.
I suggested it, but it's fine.
Yeah, Luke suggested it, and he's very proud. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Goodbye, Maniacs.
Becky, thank you for that message, but I have a question for you. We're one of your two favorite podcasting couples. Who's the other?
Who's the other podcasting couple?
I need to know.
She's also a fan in the Misfits and shouts, "Save me, Barry." Often. If you've ever watched the show, you understand what that means.
Yeah, if you watched Misfits, you'll understand. Save me, Barry.
Save me, Barry. And I think it's lovely that her and her boyfriend listen to us.
Thanks, Becky.
Thanks, Becky.
Then we got Barrett from Norway. I hope I'm saying that right, Barrett.
Yes.
Which, again, is one that I did not expect to have listeners in Norway. I'm so ecstatic that we do.
Yes, absolutely.
And Barrett notes that what's so great about Midsomer is not only the setting, right, the villages, the landscape, all that good stuff, but also that the characters are sometimes kind of over the top and that the humor is super dry. And that's one of my favorite things about Midsomer, too. And I think that's why I like British humor better than American humor, is that it's this dry humor.
It's never too super serious.
No, it never takes itself too seriously.
No.
Even when somebody's being like stabbed over and over again, it doesn't take itself too seriously.
No. We haven't been to Norway.
No, we've been to Finland.
We like Finland. We've been to Finland twice now. Well, I've been to Finland twice.
But not Norway.
Not Norway.
Maybe that'll be on our world tour.
Yeah.
Speaking of dry humor, Kirsty from Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, left us a great message that addresses the humor in Midsomer in an awesome way, subverting the form.
So here's Kirsty.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Mark. My name is Kirsty. I am from Eugene, Oregon.
Okay, wait a minute.
That's not what an Oregon accent sounds like.
No, I don't think Kirsty's local.
Well, at least she's not originally from Oregon.
Okay, so let's start again.
Let's try again.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Mark. My name is Kirsty. I am from Eugene, Oregon. And what I love about Midsomer Murders is its playfulness. There's a lot of humor in the show. And I find a lot of detective shows that I watch to be very dry and very humorless and very serious. And Midsomer has a lot of layers of sardonism and sarcasm just built into it that is just wonderful. I think half the fun of the show is that it actually spends a great deal of time subverting the form of the detective show genre. And in many ways, as a result, the show actually ends up having the last laugh on us, the viewer. You just can't take the show too seriously. There's one episode where somebody is squished by a giant wheel of cheese. There's another episode where, if I remember correctly, someone is tumble-dried to death, It's a very light-hearted detective show. The murders are whimsical, unique, and inventive, and clearly the writers are having a lot of fun writing these storylines and injecting a lot of playfulness into the stories. I know the show has a lot of detractors who say it isn't realistic or it's only for old people, but I think the show is great. I also really love how both Barnabys, also kind of subvert the form of the detective show. Historically, most detectives in TV shows are really tortured and really angry, and they have this dark past, and they're addicted to drugs or they're addicted to alcohol. And, it's really rare just to find a detective show where the main protagonist is happily married and has a family and goes to work and comes home and just has a kind of ordinary life. Again, kind of subverting the form. So thank you so much for all you do. I adore the podcast. I can't wait for it to come out every week. I listen to it on my walks around town, my bike rides around town, and thanks again.
Wow. Kirsty's analysis of Midsomer is so literary and smart. Subverting the form and getting the last laugh on us.
She's way more intelligent than we are.
And she's totally right. She's totally right. It plays on all of those tropes.
Absolutely.
And again, I think yet another reason why I love it, because I love detective shows in general. And Midsomer is different from all of those other ones for all the reasons that Kirsty just mentioned.
So that's just a selection of what we got. Some of our favorites. So thank you all.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
It just made the last 2 weeks even more bearable from the craziness. And we absolutely are overwhelmed. And I want to thank you so much. We are a podcast that started as an idea I got on a wild, crazy day. And now we have people listening all over the world.
We found our people.
We found our people.
We had to make a podcast to find them, but we found them and they found each other and it's great.
Yes.
All right. So on the 17th of August, Monday.
Yes.
We will be covering Last Year's Model, which is one of my top 10 episodes.
Wasn't it your top
my number one episode?
Number one episode.
It's my favorite for all kinds of reasons.
I've watched it once already.
Well, you've watched it more than once.
Yes, but I rewatched it once already last week, and it's just such a great episode.
It is, and we'll talk all about it.
Yes.
In episode 51.
So watch next year's model.
Last year's model.
Watch last year's model and be ready for a new episode of Midsomer Maniacs on August 17th at 9 a.m.
We'll see you then.
See you then. Bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs.